They Were the Last Resort, Part 5, by Hylian Hero 71. March 24, 2034. Capital, Alliance Research Colony 00. As Governor General Arrow looked out the window of the tower, over what remained of his colony, he wondered what had gone so wrong. What just hours before had been one of the most beautiful and productive colonies in Alliance space was reduced to a husk, with fire and destruction bathing the streets of his city. "Watch the doors!" one of his personal guards shouted as the 5 remaining men barricaded the only door into the room. Despite all the planning, all the preparation, the humans had rolled through their defenses as if they weren't there. Perhaps they underestimated the symbolic value of the planet, and overestimated the strength of their own men. There was a banging on the other side of the door, and the soldiers trained their plasma rifles on it. The humans were on the other side. Arrow drew his pistol, hoping to at least go out shooting. This hopelessness must have been what the original inhabitants of this world felt, the last time he had seen it, as a young gunnery officer. A terrible, but necessary act. The banging on the other side of the door went silent. They could hear murmurs of the humans speaking to one another, but none understood. There was a few tense moments of silence, and Arrow briefly hoped they had left. Then someone on the other side shouted, "Detonated breacher!" And before anyone could react, the door exploded. Arrow was thrown to the floor by the blast, his gun leaving his hands, and his ears rang. Before he could gather his wits, or even sit up, a boot was planted firmly on his chest, holding him down. The creature looming over him was human, his face dirty with ash and dirt, but clearly angry. He was clad in a simple combat uniform, his clothes and helmet in urban camouflage. "Looks like this is him, sir," the human said to another of the 6 that entered the room, making sure that his guards were dead. "Williams, get on that terminal and get what you can. Inform Battalion Command we've taken the building." The human leader ordered a female human, who then started working on Arrow's personal terminal. "Now, what do we have here?" the leader asked, kneeling down beside him. "Arrow, right. Governor, soldier, Earth destroyer. You've been on our lists a long time, my friend." "Have mercy," he choked out, the pressure from the human boot making him struggle to breathe. "You don't deserve mercy," the human replied, kicking him. "What mercy did you show our people?" "I can help you. I have intel," he replied to the human, though he was beginning to lose consciousness. "Help us. You can die for us," the human answered with a grim finality, unholstering his sidearm and firing. As the alien below him breathed his last, the squad leader looked away. He sighed. So much blood spilled, just to spill more. "I've got all the important data, and I've informed Battalion Command." Specialist Williams spoke up. "I've got something strange too, a weak signal, as if it's being transmitted from within some kind of dampening field." "What's it say?" the leader asked, walking up beside her. "It's the specialist team we heard about. They're trying to contact Fleet Command, but the signal's too weak to reach anyone that high. They have a report for us to relay." "Give it to me. I'll send it up," the squad leader said, taking over the terminal. A few moments later, the image of the Fleet Admiral appeared on the screen, or at least, the mask of his suit. "Who am I speaking to?" Admiral Wayne asked. "Sergeant Ferris, sir. I've got an urgent request to relay. Your specialist team is requesting your presence as soon as possible. They won't say why. Apparently, it's too sensitive." "Understood," the Admiral answered. "Thank you, Mr. Ferris." 30 minutes later, Shuttle SR-01. Logan checked over his equipment as the shuttle moved toward the specialist team's position. 2 specialists were with him as guards. Bringing one head of humanity's forces to a dangerous locale was probably a bad idea, but he had insisted once receiving the request from his team. "If you've forgotten how to load your rifle, let me know," one of the men joked. His name was Henry, and they served together during the war. The other Logan didn't know, but he'd heard they were good. The name on his uniform was Pyle. "Worried spending too long in the Admiral's chair had made me go soft?" Logan replied, chuckling. "Just keeping you honest, sir," Henry answered with a smile. It felt strange to be in this situation again, and Logan still hated the waiting from space to landfall. Usually, it was just the nerves that made it annoying, but now he had so much more to worry about. The battles planetside had been mostly won, but at a higher cost than expected. Perhaps the Alliance had learned from the human example since the war. But something told him that wasn't the case. "We're approaching the LZ," the pilot reported, the shuttle slowing down. "Alright, let's see what the team's got for me," Logan remarked as the shuttle door opened into a lush jungle environment. For a moment, he was taken aback, overcome with emotion. To step foot on Earth once more was something he had always thought impossible. Looking around, he could see that Henry and Pyle were having similar feelings. "We can admire the environment later," he said, mostly to himself. Ahead of them was a large hill with a not very hidden door in its side, leading to a path underground. The complex. "I'm reading the team signal now, sir," Henry remarked. "They're down there, somewhere." The three men creeped toward the open door, weapons at the ready. Nowhere else on the planet had gone easily, and surely this would be no different. But they met no resistance, and soon were standing at the open door. The entrance didn't go in very far, but instead was a deep chasm. "It's a lift," Pyle noted, pressing the button to raise the platform. "The team must have been the last ones to use it," Logan noted. "Otherwise it would be at the top." Before long, the lift platform had arrived, and the three men stepped aboard before lowering into the shaft. The lift descended nearly 100 meters below ground, before coming to a stop at another door. This one opened as well. It opened into what appeared to be some kind of entry room, though everything had been thrown about haphazardly, as if there had been a fight in the room. "Keep close," Logan said quietly, stepping out. Once they were in the facility, following the path of the team was simple. There weren't many branching paths, and they always followed the open doors. "Look, sir," Henry remarked as they walked down one hallway. A streak of crimson was across the smooth metal surface. Someone had been wounded here. They followed the trail with a quicker pace. The facility seemed like some kind of research base, though what they could possibly be studying none of them knew. It was completely deserted, with not even bodies to fill the scene, and not a sound to be heard above their breathing. The facility went deeper and deeper, rooms upon rooms of scientific devices scattered about, abandoned. At last the trail of blood ran into a closed blast door. "The signal is close now, sir," Henry reported. "Only a few dozen meters past this door. Give me a few seconds and I'll have it open." With that, the blast door opened, the sputtering hydraulics protesting loudly, only opening it halfway. They clambered through, and what met them on the other side was grisly. The hall beyond was littered with bodies, each one leaking a pool of blood, spreading the breadth of the hallway. The weapons of the fallen were scattered about. "Sir, look at this," Pyle said, rolling over one of the fallen with his foot. They were strange, a species Logan couldn't recognize, large and muscled, hardy. "No idea what they are," Henry said, kneeling down next to one with his scanner out. "Scans can't make heads or tails of their DNA." Logan picked up one of the weapons, examining it. It was a combustion rifle, but clearly wasn't a human model. Whoever had designed it was clearly still figuring out how to make a good one. "What the hell is going on here?" he muttered to himself, dropping the weapon. The three men slowly made their way down the hallway, carefully stepping over the dead as they made their way toward the end. There was an open doorway at the end of the hall, with a series of ramshackle barricades blocking the way. Climbing over and into the room beyond, the scene here was no less gruesome than the last. The room was filled with more bodies, but the only ones of concern were strewn about the room. "Here's the beacon," Henry said, picking up a small transmitter off a dead soldier. "Looks like they didn't make it." "Damn it," Logan said. It seems like they were in some sort of control room, with shuttered windows covering the far wall. The bodies of the specialist team were strewn about the room, each appearing to have been shot in combat. Then Logan heard a wheeze. One of the men was sitting up against a control panel, still breathing, but barely. "I knew you'd come, sir," he said with a great deal of effort. Pyle knelt down beside the wounded man, doing what he could to stem the bleeding. "What happened?" Logan asked. "They came out of nowhere. Pushed us into this room. We tried to hold off until he got here, but you see how that went," the man explained, pulling out a data chip and passing it to Logan. "We downloaded what we could from the logs of this place. You'll want to see what's on it. Then you'll understand." Then he slumped over, breathing no more. There was nothing I could do, sir, Pyle said, sighing. Logan stood up, staring at the chip in his hand. Removing his personal data pad, he plugged it in, and prayed to God as it loaded that whatever intel was in there was worth it, or at least have some answers. When the data opened, all he saw was a series of logs, listed one at a time. Open file, research log, project, last resort, head researcher's log, entry 13. Subjects 1 through 6 and 8 through 10 are reacting as expected to pathogen 314. Subject 7, however, has shown a surprisingly high resilience to the virus. Despite pathogen 314 being tailored toward killing his species, it has only damaged him, instead of the death that we had predicted. Head researcher's log, entry 30. Command has decided that it is no longer a good idea to continue work on the pathogen, as we have not been able to make progress on making it effective against the biology of Subject 7 and his species. For now, he will be returned. Hopefully, the mistake explanation will be sufficient. Head Researcher's Log, 143. Following the beginning of the war, Command has reactivated the Last Resort project. On a new planet. The unique resilience of the species native to this world was once the galaxy's greatest mystery. With some luck, we can turn it to our own use. Head Researcher's Log, Entry 206. We've done it. The humans were never submissive enough to be a permanent solution to our problems. So we have our solution. By splicing human traits into other species, we can replicate the ferocity and hardiness without losing the ability to command them, as the pathogen can be used to keep these in line. Command is greatly impressed by our progress. Head Researcher's Log, Entry. Command has just informed me that the humans grow near to the Sol system. If they are to discover what we've been working on here, it could be catastrophic. The research team is being evacuated deeper into Alliance space, where we can continue our studies. We have to leave our testing samples behind, but I am confident they will prove deadly to anyone that compromises this facility. End log. Logan was silent for a moment with shock. He remembered the designations listed in that log. Subject 7. That was how the team referred to him back during the experiment. My god, it wasn't an accident that put you in that suit, Henry said, having read the logs over his shoulder. Evidently not. Given everything I've learned of the Alliance of late, I can't say I'm surprised, Logan answered, putting away the chip and grabbing his rifle. Looks like they wanted to deal with us long before the glassing, Pyle noted. They only went for such an unsettled route once you proved resistant. At any rate, there's nothing left to learn here. Download what you can, and let's get out of here. This place makes me sick, Logan ordered, the three of them going to work on the remaining functional terminals. Henry, can we get these shutters open? Logan asked as he gestured at the block windows. I want to see what's in there. Aye, sir. I think I can get them up. With that, there was a metallic clattering as the shutters retracted, and the three men stared out in surprise. Beyond was an enormous room, filled with row upon row of human-sized tanks, and within each one was another of the part-human creatures. How many are in there? Are they even alive? Logan asked, staring at the scene. Nearly 1,000 individual units. Lord knows how fast they could pump them out, though. These ones are fortunately in stasis. As far as I can see, they won't wake up unless we do it ourselves, Henry explained. I've got everything downloaded, Pyle reported, passing Logan a data chip. Most of the info was wiped, but combined with those scans we took earlier, I've got a pretty good idea on how these things work. Good, Logan answered. Let's get back to the surface. I need to get this data to the fleet. We can send a unit to secure this location later. Leave the dead. 15 minutes later, surface. As the lift rose into sunlight, Logan had to cover his eyes, stepping back out into the green world. Go signal the shuttle, Logan ordered Pyle and Henry. As they nodded and went to work, Logan noticed someone was trying to signal him. Priority 1. Yes? He asked, opening a channel to his first officer aboard the Stern Resolve. Oh, thank God. I've been trying to reach you for 20 minutes, sir. Whatever that complex is, it must repel outside transmissions. We've got trouble, sir. What kind of trouble? Logan asked nervously. The early warning beacons we laid the other day just got pinged. They're reading off the charts. Their ship's headed towards Sol. And a lot of them.